So I have a very interesting task at hand, talking about future tech, talking about AI in the future, with a fantastic list of panelists that I have over here. I think over the last few months or maybe a couple of years, we've reached a stage that some of us are either excited with AI, some youngsters may be a little scared of AI. AI मेरी job खा जाएगा, ठीक है? Some of them are thinking of AI only as ChatGPT. Some of them are actually using it. Instagram reels खोल के देखेंगे तो it's completely filled with some amazing ways in which you can use AI and digitize all the businesses. You can run one-man companies and whatnot, and you can become millionaires and billionaires very fast, according to some of these wonderful social media influencers. I appreciate all of them. I hear a lot. I try to study a little bit of that. But what I've realized is, and I'll just take a minute before we jump into questions. What I've realized is that AI is either being used to grow, or it's being used to replace, or amazingly, it's being used to scam. One of the three things are happening, right? In fact, the industry which is growing faster than the social media influencer industry is actually digital fraud industry, right? So theoretically speaking, the scamsters are doing a better job than what we are doing in understanding the way the technology is supposed to do a job. And I find that really amazing. I really appreciate some amazing, intelligent guys, just that they are on the wrong side of things. But if you look at, let's say, a series like Money Heist, right? Some of you may have seen it. It's a global phenomenon. Everyone's loving the heist guys. India में जो धूम series है, people love the bad guys. अभिषेक को तो उसमें कोई important role नहीं है. The negative guys are the heroes. But that's because all of them are shown as using tech in a very interesting way, very intelligent way. And these amazing scamsters, India में भी जो जमतारा series है, speaks for itself. So all of the people that are on this panel, and myself included, we are going to try and figure out one of the solutions for some people who are trying to be an aspiring person. I'm sure most of us would have seen one of the famous movies, अंदाज़ अपना अपना. मेरे भी ज़माने की अपनी एक favorite movie है. उसमें एक amazing परेश रावल का second character था तेजा. I am sure you guys remember him. He wanted to start a business. Do you remember what business he wanted to start? मुर्गियों का फार्म, पोल्ट्री फार्म खोलना था उसे, और उसके बाद साथ में ब्रेड का बिजनेस, बेकरी बनानी थी, राइट? इफ टुडे a new young age entrepreneur wants to start these two lines of business, he is not going to be able to do it in an absolute traditional way. He will certainly need new tools, new platforms, new management system, new people who understand the new customer segment, how to sell products of poultry and a bakery on a WhatsApp channel, how to do that, how to set up a website, how to, some basic things. अगर tier 2 में है, tier 3 में है, how is he going to be able to do that? So I'm going to have some interesting questions for my panelists based on this, that if a Teja in today's time and age wants to set up a poultry business or a bakery business, how is he going to tackle things around? ठीक है? That's how we're going to go. So my first question is going to be to Mr. Samrat, and I'm going to keep it very simple. This new guy in a tier 2 industry, tier 2 city, in a new age industry, wants to set up a simple company, new company खोलना है, bank account खोलना है, ठीक है? How will AI help the BFSI segment in opening up a very simple bank account with the help of AI? That is my question, please.
So, thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. I'll try to, answer that in two things. Just to give a context, financial services, fintech, the background of that is a very highly regulated stuff. I think we should all be aware of. So the magic of AI is always guardrails by the regulator. It's RBI, it's IRDA, it's AMFI, and a host of other regulators. Plus, there's the whole cloud of data protection which is getting talked about in various forms, shapes, and kind. But coming back to the question which been asked about a tier 2 city, and he wants to open a bank account. One of the basic doctrines in financial services, whether it's a bank account or an insurance policy or mutual fund, is something known as KYC, which is called Know Your Customer. Basically, customer we are guardrailed by a few things called anti-money laundering. When you see money heist, you have seen something called a list of people who are banned in terms of what you call a FATCA list, which comes in this place. So KYC becomes a very integral place to get an identity of a person or an entity to whom the services will be given to. So today, if I go back 20 years in time, KYC was a very much a manual process. There were standard documents, PAN card, school living certificate, etc. Today, it is a matter of hardly a few, I would say, minute, where you can do a video KYC sitting at your home in your smartphone, and we authenticate that with Aadhaar, which is your thing to do it, and within seconds the KYC is done. Just to add on a few things, if a bank account is open, a KYC is more or less taken care of. However, if you get into some upgraded services which people talk about, by suppose buying an insurance policy, or you want to get into a PMS, or you want to get into something else, there are other forms of associated things also which gets done with that. One of that, we all know about CIBIL as a score, right? CIBIL is a proxy about your credibility in the lending market. Similarly, today we have something called an account aggregator. Have you guys heard about account aggregator? Account aggregator is by the consent which you give to a third party. I can extract your bank account and actually know your spending the way it is, right? So these are again enablers or digital tool. So next time you want to buy a chicken, that's what he talked about, Teja, is that you don't have to go to the farmhouse to buy a chicken. You can actually go to an intermediary and tell them what is the chicken you want to buy. So that's precisely what an account aggregator, and 9 out of 10 times the chicken will be healthy, will be, free from any kind of, whatever, diseases, if at all it has, and it will give you the right taste. If I can add organic, if you want to do this. I think that's where the world has evolved. But I'll just like to pause here and give it to others for the discussion to flow, is that I think that's the beginning of what we said. We digitize something and we embark into the first steps of AI. AI is something much, much beyond this. And I think we should all be cognizant to the fact that AI is a spectrum and we should not be painting it with the same brush everywhere. It differs from industry to use case to regions to everything which is there, and it should not be that you blink your eyes and tomorrow you move out from here and the next blink you are in Nariman Point. I think that's a long answer to a short question. Over to you.
Thank you. I'll pick up one line from what you just said, Mr. Samrat. You mentioned about KYC has moved into video KYC now. However, my last personal couple of experiences over video KYC has been that there has been an individual on the other side of the video. I quickly wanted to understand that, do you think in the future, near future, and this question is to Vishwa, that AI will replace the complete journey of video KYC? And if it does, then do you think that somebody like Teja will be able to trust it, given how the question of trust is really coming up, कि ये सही वाला call है या fraud वाला call है? Over to you, please.
Yes. So just building on to what Bhushan you mentioned and what Mr. Samrat mentioned. So whatever AI we are seeing today is basically the natural progression of what we have achieved so far in digital transformation. Because you mentioned if Teja will start a poultry business, he will not start a standalone shop. He will look for the WhatsApp channels and where he can go for. So exactly on a similar thing, Mr. Samrat also mentioned that AI is the later stage evolution of what we have achieved so far in digital transformation. So exactly this is where the whole thing is maturing to, and I would say what Teja will say for this voice agent. So basically it may happen, a voice agent may come on a KYC call and they may take up all the KYC requirements from Teja, and they will try to understand, because Teja is from the other side. We will try to filter out if Teja is going to make any fraud or not. So there are some guardrails to identify whether the person who is on the other side is a genuine customer or not, genuine person or not. So that AI has this kind of functionalities these days. The only thing is, last time, because I come from banking background, RBI wanted an audit trail where the other side also a person is there on the video KYC. So that is, I think that is the stopping point. Otherwise, because in my personal capacity, what we are doing in our company, we are doing voice agents. So we solved a very peculiar problem. I think a lot of students are also there from business schools. All admission interviews are being conducted now with our partner B schools by our AI agent. So other side is not your professor, is not your alum, somebody who is having the aura or the same kind of persona of your faculty or your alum is taking your interview. Two things, and when we started with what Mrs. Samrat mentioned, somewhere it is replacing, somewhere it is growing. So yes, we wanted to minimize this scarcity of people because alums are not available, people are not available to take interview, it is costly affair. But we figured out very important thing, I think that people will appreciate. Everyone has their personal biases. I may be a very tough examiner. If these students come in my room for interview, I will give them very low marks, and the other person can be a very easy examiner like Bhushan. He will give 8 out of 10 marks, I will give 6 out of 10. And cutoff is 7. My guys will say, why I went to that room. So now with AI, we remove that personal bias. Even if the bias is there, that bias is across. And that is something that we figured out because we started helping B schools, and they come to us that there is a uniformity in all the rooms that people are now coming, and this kind of CSAT review also they get from their students, whether they get admission or not. And that they saw that this has increased a lot. That is something that if we are doing something with like voice agents and AI, a uniformity is something that we should focus, and this can actually give a very accurate results in a lot of fields. Yes, I will move to the next person.
Sure, thank you. I think that's valuable input. So now let's take the story a little ahead. अब तेजा life में थोड़ा बड़ा हो रहा है. His shop is doing well, bakery is doing well. Now he has to buy a big oven. 15 lakh का oven है. Now 15 lakhs he's not going to fund out of his own pocket. He's a traditional businessman. He knows that you don't put your own money on the table. You grow with somebody else's money. So you're going to have to take a loan. And that's where I needed your inputs, Winston. He wants to take an equipment leasing loan. Leasing or a loan, you can guide us. But importantly, I want to know that when there are thousands of such applicants, what role will AI play in underwriting these applicants about which business and which human is good to give a loan or not, or to lease an equipment or not? Over to you, please.
Thank you. So traditionally, it's always been the case for a loan product or leasing. Leasing comes as an alternative investment product for a loan. But the only difference here is that leasing becomes an off-balance sheet product, loan becomes an on-balance sheet product. So if Teja is taking, or any other SME is taking a loan today, right? What AI or has started doing is they automate most of the underwriting channels where they gather data from multiple sources, right? Data is from financial statements, from your bank statements, from your GST, your CIBIL reports, and they conclude a single report to the underwriter for him to analyze and understand better. Otherwise, this will take a lot of time, right? And time management has been faster with AI today. When I say time management, your reports are ready within a couple of minutes rather than 2-3 days that it used to take. But again, right, a human element is always required. The only thing is because understanding realities of the ground is something that the AI will not be able to do today, because AI is still under the learning phase. When I say the learning phase, it will only pick up data and analyze data. Human intervention, understanding thesis of the business, right, is something that AI may not be able to always generate. Being said that, it has helped definitely in risk mitigation also. When I say risk mitigation, let's assume there is a bank statement, you see a lot of credits and debits happening, and that is what AI will pull in. But there are defaults in loan, right, which a human might miss. So human error to be minimized is what AI will strongly oppose and try to make it better to solve certain problems for the underwriter in this case. Lastly, for the SME today, right, access to capital is something that AI is always trying to do better today. When I say access to capital, it's more or less, you know, not every other SME. Like today, Teja will not have an audited statement. He will not really have a lot of books that most of the SMEs and MSMEs today in the market have. But what has happened is because of digital payments, because of their bank statements, lenders are open to give a credit line or an equipment finance or a leasing solution just based on these documents, right? Now the access of capital comes in place through these channels itself, right? And that is the best use of AI, is because it will tell you what kind of money is flowing in at what seasonality, right? Today we assume that bakery business runs 24/7, right? But it is seasonal as well. Rains will hamper it, right? There will be some other factors that will hamper it. But that is something AI will always show in terms of trends that the revenue is flowing in. Yes. So these are the major three aspects which I feel AI is absolutely giving more advantage to the underwriter, to the lender, in providing the right sort of credit solutions to the customers.
Fantastic. I think that really, I'm sure, will give a lot of guidance to the young students over here. My next question is going to be to you, sir, Ramesh sir. You mentioned about UPI payments ab chalu kar diya hai Teja ne. So obviously his customer base is going to grow. He's going to put a lot of data on cloud. He's going to do digital payments. He's going to do social media integrations. He's going to do a lot of this stuff to grow fast. And he will not realize suddenly one day he is exposed to a lot of cyber risks. He is exposed to a lot of DPDP compliance. And he doesn't even know that these things are already on his head. And he's a traditional businessman sitting in the tier 2, tier 3 of the country. I don't expect, as of now, given the size of the population that India has, that there will be a process or a manual intervention to guide each and every such small SME that what is DPDP and what is cyber exposure. कोई आके आपके दरवाजे पे आपको सिखाएगा तो नहीं. Therefore, I believe AI has to play a role over there, and that is where I have a question for you, sir. That in these kind of risks and exposures for SMEs in deep parts of the country, what role can AI play?
First and foremost, I would really like to thank Bhushanji for getting that Teja thing into the conversation. I think people didn't expect it. They expected some serious conversation, and I wish life was as fun as the movie that was Andaz Apna. What was the name? Andaz Apna
Andaz
Apna.
Apna.
Yeah. So I think we should also enjoy some humor in the everyday life. So having said that, now since you told, I'll just give you my introduction. My name is Ramesh Singh Rajput. I'm the founder and CEO of RX Group. We are working with business owners in identifying, mitigating the risk. We are working extensively on this DPDP Act, which is one of its kind act. We have been able to secure some of the biggest government clients and also some big time entities in the fintech space also. Having said that, there are two ways to look at the things. First, I'll talk about the AI and then I'll come to the cyber part. Now, the question is not that whether the AI is useful or not. The main liability is how trustworthy it is. So, and who is going to take that responsibility? So, every CEO, every board member should ask themselves, let's say if a decision has been taken, at the end of the day, the regulator, the court or whoever, whom would they make responsible with? Will they make the developer responsible for it? Will they make the project manager? Will they make the department head or the board of director or the CEO, right? So only way we can be able to solve that is if we have the trust factor and ethics in place, because we don't know what AI will do. So the first and foremost thing is we should have this AI training for the employees, ways and means to use it. We should have data governance in place so that we don't fall out to the praise that we have the spam jo chalta hai hamara. Secondly, the DPDP Act, I don't know if people would be aware of it. So this is one of its kind act. India never had something like that. So GDPR was there for the European Union. So this DPDP Act says it governs how the data is collected, how it is processed, and how is it stored. So the every day when you go to a one bank for applying a loan, you suddenly get 10 calls. Sir, aapko loan chahiye, loan chahiye, loan chahiye. Ye chahiye, wo chahiye, wo chahiye. So how is it that the data is circulating so fast? The same, I believe, since we have students with us, you would be getting a lot of calls from Computer Institute, ye hai, wo hai, whatever, right? So that is because the data is getting disseminated, and what this act says is the data should be used only for the specific purpose for which it has been collected. So in the example of Teja, right? So if he goes to a bank for acquiring a loan only on the poetry form of his, the other bank should not call him, should we give you a lender for animal husbandry or something weird like that sort of. So whatever data he has given to the bank has to be used only by that bank for the specific purpose. And if, let's say, if I have applied for a loan, they can't send me a festive greeting on Diwali, Happy Holi, Happy Dashera and all that. It is not allowed as per the DPDP. And you will be astonished to believe the maximum fine that has been put on the DPDP is 250 CR. Right? And there is a special board that has been set up, there is no data protection board. So the role of that board will be to do the audits post May 2027. The timeline is 18 months. Time frame has been given. And education institute do fall in that. In fact, the education institute which have students below 18, they have to take two consent, one from the student, one from the parent. So it has a severe ramification. I remember when I started outreach, I was talking with a lot of government entities, a lot of big players. They said, oh, 250 CR, it's a too big amount to even digest. ऐसा थोड़ी होता है कभी. Now they are waking up. So the fruit that now we are sowing. So I've been able to secure this client because I was able to spread that awareness. And right now still the awareness is not there. It's a good thing. The data protection board will at least do some fines and penalties. So then hopefully people will realize. So good for us. And what was the question? I forgot.
Cyber. The cyber risk.
Yeah. So when we talk about the cyber risk, there are three aspects of that. So how the data is stored. First, if that is protected, then the chances of the risk are less. Secondly, we also see a lot of small-time scams happening with a lot of individuals, right? Because we work with business owners, so we do the risk mitigation for them. We do the cyber resilience framework and this and that, all that thing. So we do offer them cyber insurance also. But the quantum of loss that they have is in crores, right? So now the concern is that you might have seen UPI mein kisi ka scam ho gaya, somebody has installed an APK file and then all of a sudden the data got and whatever this is. So now there is a small plans that have came in for the insurance, around 10,000 rupees ka, you get a 10 lakh rupees. So I think that has to be in place. Secondly, there is no way to track or get back the money, and recently the government has came up with a maximum penalty or whatever, I mean, whatever they can give back is 50,000. Even if you have lost 10 lakhs, 50 lakhs, whatever, the government is willing to take the liability of 50,000 only. So the protection and everything has to be started from our own side. Secondly, when we download any application from Google Play Store, remember it is asked us to next. So we should read what it is asking, because over there he is asking to access our gallery, our contacts and each and everything. So we should be careful on that front, and obviously some APK files and this and that should not be downloaded. Otherwise, तेजा का अंडे से मुर्गी कभी निकलेगी नहीं, वो सपने में सपना रह जाएगा. एक मुर्गी की, what was that? What was that?
एक मुर्गी से बहुत सारे कई करोड़ अंडे.
हाँ वैसा है.
अरबों अंडे से अरबों आमलेट.
And as he was talking about the video KYC, right? So he was saying how is that they're going to identify the other person genuine, and giving the example of Teja, he said, right, यहाँ mark यहाँ पे ये असली तेजा है. So there is a way to find out who is authentic and who is not. So similarly in the place of the products in the premise, so there are authentications. We should be careful on that front.
Thank you very much. I think there were a lot of notes for the children to take here, to read up a little bit about the DPDP Act. It's the thing of the future. I can be very honest about it, despite being in the professional industry myself. Given the fact that this is very new, even we are struggling to get on top of it. Takes time, but for you it will be like आपके पढ़ाई वाले stage पे ही आ रहा है, तो this will be the best time for you to get on top of it, because this is the thing of the future. This is going to be applicable to everyone, every industry, everybody will be covered. Pretty much you can say the whole country will be covered at an institutional level under the DPDP Act. Please do read about it. We're going to get a little bit technical now. Given the fact that so many institutional side of things are deploying AI, my question is going to be to Mr. Samrat. Given that so many banks are deploying AI, given that so many lenders are deploying AI, all of the areas for which an individual has to connect to the BFSI, banking and financial services segment, जहाँ से भी उसको कोई भी interaction करना है, on the other side there is an AI. My quick question to you in that case would be that do you believe that we are very close to the future where these financial institutions would significantly downsize their manpower and rely completely on AI? Please.
Great question. I think this is something on the top of the mind everyone is thinking every time we read something on AI or there's some flash on the social media. But as I said earlier, it's not, you can't paint AI with the same brush. If I talk about financial services, if you talk about a bank, you talk about a mutual fund company, you talk about an insurance company, you talk about a lending company, an NBFC. The two primary jobs they do, right? One is about servicing their customers of a post-sale services. That's a huge part of the job which they do. Whatever, you go to a bank for something. A majority of that cohort of services earlier got digitized to something called a self-services. For people who don't know, there were once teller in the bank who used to go and update your passbook. You do it yourself today. It's called self-servicing. And the medium through which it was done was your app. So you don't go today to the bank to update your, to get your account statement, to do anything you want to do on the bank. It is taken care of. AI is only accelerating that, amplifying that to make sure that the self-servicing is there. That's pretty much 10 on 10 in terms of what AI has done. The second part is on each financial services goes as a proposition. You go to a bank, they also sell you an insurance policy, they also sell you a mutual fund. So this is some amount of aggregation which is happening in terms of the proposition they bring into you. They sell you a loan, a lending loan, they'll give you a credit life policy with that. So in case you default or some unfortunate event happens, you are covered, you hedge your risk. The second part of AI is that how is that aggregation happening seamlessly? Assimilation seamlessly from one mutual fund company to an insurance company to a bank to an account aggregator to a payment gateway like a Razorpay or a PayU or whatever it is. How are you doing that to make sure? Coupled with that, there are guardrails around cyber security which also ensures that you have those guardrails in place. So the whole ecosystem is meshed to ensure that you are protected and you are getting the services. So that's the second level of AI which is happening. The most important thing about AI, and this is something students you should be aware of, is the ability to predict a future. Whether it is the consumer behavior, it is how the markets are going to perform, or how the interest rates are going to behave. That is the real test of what AI is all about. There are various statistical measures which you have learned in as a part of your curriculum, which they do. You do simulation, you do statistical coefficient of thing, you do regressions, you do a lot of other things to do it. AI tries to do that. I think that is where the question is that there is a yes and no to that. There are various arguments towards this. There is a yes to no to that. But for the audience here, my 2 cents will be that while the first two cohorts are easy stuff to create, it was already there, technology has already evolved, it has made things a lot of simpler, you can just do it in the split of a second. So this is 10 on 10. So all financial institutions are doing this, and you can name it. No one goes with a passbook today, right? None of us, we have a passbook today. So that's one testimony to the fact about what AI has done. But the second part is that will you be able to predict how interest rates are going to behave? Or will you be able to predict how we all try to, get our hands dirty with the stock market stuff, right? How the things are going to move. I think that's $1 million question. And that is where, if I were to see myself 30 years back when I was a student, I would scratch my brains and scramble my things to see that what is perhaps I can do with this tool. I think that's from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, sir said about predicting the future, that AI is going to certainly play a role in predicting the future. I'm going to take a small bet here. I'll predict Teja's future. 2 साल के बाद, his bakery and poultry will definitely go comparatively far bigger. And he's going to receive one fine day a call for a video KYC for a new loan that he's applied. And on the other side is going to be a robot or a virtual Myra kind of assistant. My question will be to Vishwa that when that AI-led video KYC is happening, at what point, from an institutional standpoint, does the handover happen from the AI to human when it comes to decision making, if at all it does happen? even in the future, do you believe that the handover from AI to human will continue? If it will continue, at what point do you believe the handover will happen? That now the decision making has got to go from AI to human. AI has given you all the inputs. Will the decision continue to remain with humans, or will AI also start taking the decisions?
So I'll take it from one step back, Bhushan. So uh, before this handover, so how normally today handover happens? Because as we were discussing, we're in a continuous evolution phase, and where AI is coming as a next step. Today, everyone orders food from m-commerce companies. If the food is delayed, you chat with a chatbot. Then it says, can I hand over this call to a human agent? If it is beyond the context and you say, no, I'm a very tough customer, how can you delay my order? Okay, it says, man, just a chatbot, you cannot do. The frustrating part starts when the human agent comes and he starts from scratch. Sir, what is your order number? So till last 5 minutes was I singing a song. So what Samrat sir was also mentioning, the whole ecosystem should be stitched together. I think that is the whole game, how we can make all these things happen. Because if I will spend 10-15 minutes with that AI agent on the video KYC, or maybe for a loan application also, because these days we see a lot of application in loan application, selling of insurance. These agents and bots are playing a major role. But if at all a handover is happening, is the handover is smooth? Because in telecom we used to have a term, hard handoff or soft handoff. Whenever you are getting a handover, it is soft or hard. Soft means if you get the handover happened, but you did the other side of the customer doesn't get any feel of it. So let's say the Bhushan's question is, if the handover happens maybe for a decision-making thing. Let's say it was a loan call and a person does all the underwriting on the call, which already two gentlemen already mentioned how it can be achieved. And then maybe somebody said, I want to increase my loan limit. For that, maybe you need to have some certain more questions. And then you did the handover. So major part is the whole area of what AI is today covering will increase in future. And then maybe for a decision making or for certain other things which are out of context will be handled by the human. And then those things which are handled by human today will become part of the learning of the bot in the next 5-6 months. And it may also happen that people will talk to agents, Today, people are talking to agent. In future, Bhushan, Teja's AI assistant will apply for a loan application. Yeah. So both the sides, agents are there. And actually, we will be talking to agents or screen. Today, we don't speak to human, we speak to screens majorly. Now the trend will start, agent will talk to agent, and then we will be we'll be living a very passive life. And we will be taking the updates at the end, what the agents have done during the day. So that is my take on that.
Thank you.
I'll just add, sorry to break the flow. This behavior is called a omni-channel architecture in a service industry. Okay, what does omni-channel architecture talks about in a service industry is that you start your conversation on a WhatsApp messenger, you leave it there, and from there you switch off to phone, to your call center. Where you left, it takes it over from there. Whether it's a sales call or a service call, you switch it from there, you go to the web. You leave it there, and you start here. Matured service industry has a well-defined omni-channel architecture. That's something which was 10 years back, maybe 15 years back. Today what we are talking about is that this omni-channel, which is cross-channel, will get also added with a layer which is AI. And as he said, that he's not going to ask you what's your order number and may I please reconfirm. He'll pick it up from where you do. And this is what is called prescriptive services. Like when you go to a doctor, he already gives you the whole prescription saying that, okay, this is all about. And next time when you go to him, he just opens the things and he knows your history and you pick it up from there. I think that's where the world is going. And that's where the disconnect are. So this is a concept which was always there. It is just getting more amplified and more polished and more finesse in trying to make sure whatever is the end outcome you are going to get out of the service, with a sales call or a service call, is seamless and is frictionless. I think just add on to this.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you. Actually, Vishwaka, last point, Sunke, the only thing that I'm getting a little worried about is how long before AI also comes on the stage and we are no longer needed to speak. That's a bit of a Okay. My next question is going to be to Winston. We surely know that AI is going to be heavily involved in decision making. What I also believe, and you may please correct me if my understanding is wrong, that the BFSI industry, while it is subscribing to a lot of AI, not all of AI is being built in-house. They will rely on, the external companies who are AI specialists to deploy those AI platforms. Now, when you have an external AI company who has deployed an AI platform in my lending institution, and it's the AI which is taking decisions about approving or disapproving loans, there will be a certain percentage point where the decision making did not go right. When that happens and you took a decision कि किसी को लोन देना है, तेजा जैसे आदमी को लोन देना है जिसको आपने नहीं देना चाहिए था क्योंकि आफ्टर ऑल तो वो बुरा आदमी है और वो पैसे खा जाएगा, बट फिर भी आपके एआई ने रीसेंट हिस्ट्री देख के उसको लोन दे दिया, and then that turned to be a bad debt. It went bankrupt. It turned out to be a bad debt. Do you believe that the lending institution has any recovery from the AI company? How does those kind of contracts work? Who owns this responsibility for the wrong decision making that a AI may take? It will be a small percentage, but jo bhi number hoga, who will own that? Please.
Sure, thank you. Very valid question. So the first principle, especially in a lending institution or in finance today, right? AI will recommend while humans will be accountable, right? Institutions will be accountable for the same. Data mapping or data scraping will be done through AI, right? Let's assume there are companies like Perfios today, right? That will scrape all the bank statement, GST, derive a data that is useful for the lender or the institution to try and give out a loan, right? The decision making has to be at the underwriter's end because he knows the business well, right? It's more or less about skill set. AI is not a skill set program. AI is a data manuring program is what I would say today. While the person who is on the other side will always be accountable to ensure that is it the right money given to the right person and the recovery that will take place from. There is no liability from the AI company's end because their job is to give data, right? Lending, on the other hand, is the bank's job, right? And recovery is the bank's job. Mr. Uday Kotak once said, like, giving money is very easy, right? Recovery is the most difficult aspect of lending today, right? And that's a part and parcel of every other lending institution. So being said that, AI will come, but institutions, and again, customers, right? Today, they go to a bank. They go to a bank because they have trust in their bank, right? Tomorrow, if there are AI robots there, people will not go to the bank, right? They may not take money also, right? Somehow, people trust institutions, and then the institutions can use AI or whatever it is to ensure that their requirements are fulfilled in terms of regulations, in terms of aspects for their underwriting. But you cannot blame a wrong underwriting channel just on AI, right? Today, AI or it could be human, right? Both have failed in terms of underwriting, in terms of no one is perfect, right? There was always going to be a miss, but always going to be a match. It's all the appetite of the lender in terms of how much risk he can take today to do that particular transaction, right? And being said that, AI is into the learning phase. It will help lenders learn better. As Samratji said that account aggregator is coming. We're pulling data from one bank to the other. It's simple. It just makes it better because there is more transparency. There is more accessibility to information that earlier was very difficult to get in. So AI will help with more data, will help with evolved learning, but accountability has to be with the institution as well.
Great, thank you. And my next question is going to be to Rameshji. So now we've reached a stage where Teja's business is founded with the help of AI. It's running with the help of AI. It's financed with the help of AI. In every function that his business is operating at, there is a decent involvement of AI, either his own AI capability tools or the institutions that he's working with, their AI capability tools. The similar question which I had, for Winston at the institutional end, when the decision making goes wrong, there could be a decision making which goes wrong at Teja's end as well, in terms of his data management, his customer data management, life cycle management, the products that he gives to his customers. In the cases where at an SME level where the decision making goes wrong and there are certain legal repercussions coming out of it, whether for DPDP, cyber, or any other liability exposure that come out of it, do you believe that an SME will be able to hold any kind of AI tool accountable? Because I don't see right now that I'm able to hold my cloud responsible for the bad stock market calls that it gave me? How do we tackle that?
Firstly, one observation. I don't know whether the AI is letting you ask me, starting a question with Teja. Everyone else, you're asking a very serious question. For me, you're getting the Teja online. So, just kidding. So, since you told, you are saying that SMEs won't be able to hold an AI liable, right? I would say none of the company will be able to hold AI, right? Because you can outsource the technology, but you can't outsource the responsibility. Responsibility has to be with the company which is deploying the AI, right? Because at the end of the day, the neck on the table will be of the company, and the stake will be of the customer, right? So that has to be taken care of. Secondly, as we are evolving, it's not that difficult. I do remember like 10 years ago when the UPI movement had started, people in parliament saying, कि भाजी वाला कैसे use करेगा, how will it work, नहीं है. There is, so it's not that difficult. We have evolved with times, and we as a human being, that's the nature that we are progressing with, right? So one thing that I was able to think, which is a different thing, why we are fearing AI, because remember we had an industrial revolution. That point of time also people were scared, human labor will go out of the place, what will happen to the laborers, machines will come in. So why is it that now we are fearing AI? The reason being is, it is the first time in the human history that now the skilled labors is getting replaced. Earlier the labor, the unskilled labor was getting replaced. But this time the AI is able to do what human intelligence was capable to do, in fact, much better way. But I think the only differentiating factor that will determine if a company is able to successfully surpass and sustain this is trust. If you have ethics in place, if you have these things up in place, you will be able to sustain yourself. Because at the end of the day, you will have to go to the market, and the market has to approve you. No matter how many billion of dollars funding you have got, tech of this kind and that kind, but if the market is not resonating with you and long-term ethics are not in place, you will be in a big soup some or the other day. We have seen a technological company like Google, Facebook, they have faced a lot of fines, right? Because they have this PR, I mean, in India, we are not even aware how much fine they have paid. And like recently, there was an example of Instagram was sued for the child abuse and content such like that. But due to the mechanism of PR that they have, we are not able to get this news. But me being from that industry, I know that. So at no point in time, no one is safe, right? So the institution has to take the responsibility. Having said that, there is nothing to worry also, because we will evolve with time, right? We have learned things that way. As a human being, that's the survival instinct that we have. One is to live in jungle, then we survived, and then we started living in this corporate jungle. So that's it's part of the game. It will happen.
No, fair point. Very well taken. My next two questions are going to be for the entire floor, and I'll request all of you to participate for maybe 30 seconds each. It'll be very simple questions. Teja is going to expand his business. He's got his poultry and bakery sorted. He's now figured out कि अब अगला business चालू करना है, logistics भी करना है. ये जो माल बना रहा हूँ उसका supply भी मैं ही करूँगा, ठीक है? Now, his AI tool is telling him that yes, get into logistics, right? Because these days everyone is asking AI को कि help me start a new business. But his family background and his parental instincts are telling him that no, focus on the businesses that you have at hand, right? Instincts and gut feeling go far longer, in traditional business houses. In the very near future, AI versus instinct and business instinct, what will take the bigger rank? Starting from here, sir, one by one.
Yeah. So my personal opinion is that there is something called core competency, and that is something which is always there, was there, will be there in the future. So the business instincts for a core competency, if Teja is into doing X, will always be there. Just because there is a hype and there's a lot of AI which is going there, I think he will be very cautious in taking that step.
Vincent.
So for Teja today, right, to start a new logistic business, the data will tell him what is happening, right? But he has to understand why it is happening, right? And that is where the entire correlation comes in place. for him to understand that if he has to really get into something, as sir said, core competency, skill set. Running a business is not about putting in money and then it starts making money. It's about, do you know the field well, right? When it comes to logistics, it's about again handling manpower. You need someone to drive a truck. Yeah, the AI will not do it, right? You have to handle the RTO, police, and everything else that comes with it. AI will never going to do it, right? So everything that looks great when you read a story, right? But actually, when you run the story, it's very different, and that's how AI will not going to change things for Teja.
I have a slightly different take, though it will always instinct. Yeah, it's always instinct, but it doesn't. It will not happen that this will never happen. So it may happen that it's not their core competence, but forward. It's a natural progression of forward integration. So the forward integration may happen. It may happen that he will partner with someone first, and this recommendation may also come from AI, that if you don't have experience of this business, first partner with someone, learn the rules of the game, and then start. So maybe not next year, but maybe somewhere Teja will start.
I'll go beyond further. I totally disagree with. He was being a bit cautious, but I totally disagree with both of them.
I wanted that. Yeah.
So I'll tell you one thing. We, as a human being, we are emotional, right? We take emotional decision, but we then give it a logic and justify things. So I will definitely say, even if you don't have a core competence, even if you don't know background, nothing, you will find a way to learn that, right? So if the Teja's instinct is that I should do that, he will do it. And accordingly, he will put the question in the AI. So the question will change, right? So if he is pessimist about it, should I do that or should I not do that, right? And if he's optimist, what are the best ways for me to get into this logistic business? Give me 10 successful businesses in past 10 years, which has happened. And then accordingly, he'll take the decision, right? And like Vincent told, data will be telling him the past story, but no, data will also tell the future market, how is it going to perform? And he's going to rationalize it with the logic and the biases that he has. Right, so we human beings are structured in that way that we want things our way. So I think he should go that way, and we should come up with the andaz apna apna too.
Very soon, very soon. And final quick question, even shorter answers this time. My final question, and we'll start from the reverse order this time, is that obviously every business has many functions. There is finance, there is marketing, there is operations, there is HR, manpower, there are various functions. In the near future, in Teja's business model, there will surely hopefully be a few areas which AI has completely taken the ownership of, right? जिसका founders को tension नहीं है. 1 or 2 word replies, what all couple of functions do you think they be that are completely AI driven and have very negligible involvement of the owners and management?
Specifically, if you're asking, I think any mundane work that doesn't need a daily decision making, like from opening the farmhouse to closing it, in everything in between those, any mundane thing that he has to do daily, which doesn't require his supervision, that will be outsourced.
To AI. Sure.
Yeah, it will definitely go.
Vishwa, please.
So a lot of businesses where information and custodian of information people are there. I'll not name any people are there from multiple business and functions, but custodians of information and data will find it difficult to survive in AI. Wherever you have decision-making instinct, as we all agreed, that portion will be required, and those people will only survive in the company.
Those humans will continue.
Exactly.
Please, Winston.
I think backend and operations will be mundane,
Okay.
especially in accounting, production lines, because you'll not have a lot of people monitoring things. Everything will be done through AI itself. That is where I feel that there will be a lot of changes when it comes to backend operations.
Sure. Sir, please.
I think I agree to everyone, whatever it is there, and I personally, one sentence is that all functions, there'll be 80% of the workforce will be redundant, and with AI, which will come in. So the game is going to change.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that was a wonderful panel. I'll leave with one comment for everybody's information, including the panelists. My entire question set was obviously done with AI. It was done on Claude. Claude gave me I asked Claude to give me a plot. It gave me a plot of a bakery. That was Claude's job. To convert it into Teja's bakery was my brain. That's where the difference lies between what AI can do and what humans are supposed to do. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks for the
Thank you.